Yo, and welcome back to another video. And into this video, I'm just going to be talking about a few tips and techs I could give if you're about to use Silentheart Gun. And I'm doing this because of the old video that was 3 months ago. I wasn't really that good. I was kind of like still learning the game, but now I feel like I have enough experience to give the best advice and tips and techs on how to use Silentheart Gun to the full potential. Now, let's get straight into it, right? First of all, what gun are you going to be using? You're going to be using a gun called Repeater. You're going to be using a Repeater because the Repeater has the highest scaling in the game. This weapon has 15 scaling, allowing it to do a lot and high damage. Now, if you ask me why this weapon has 15 scaling, bro, I don't know. Ask the desk, bro. It's been like that for a while from what I was told, and it's just not been touched for a while. With 15 scaling, basically you can stack a lot of damage mods and just do like cancer damage, bro. You also have 12 range on this gun. You have 1.25 swing speed on this weapon, which actually it's not actually 1.25 swing speed. It is actually lower than that. There is a bug currently. It's probably never going to be fixed, but the Repeater is actually around 1.2 or less, and after your M1 gets parried, the swing speed even becomes lower. Now, this bug has been in the game for a while. I've been trying to get it fixed, but the devs don't just respond to me, so I gave up and just gonna leave it like that. So let's say the Repeater has 1.2 swing speed. You're gonna use that weapon. Now, where can you find the Repeater? You can go to Summer Azul and buy the bullets from the tradesman right there. You just want to go in, and I'll show it on the screen right now where to get the guns. If you don't want to use a Repeater, right, you could use a Rosen's Roscoe. This weapon is actually pretty good. It has 1.2 swing speed, it does 4 posture, and has 20% chip. If you put obfuscation on this shit, you could do up to like maybe 25% more chip, and that is really good, you know. But the thing about this weapon is just that swing speed and the scaling is not as high as the Repeater. Now, let's move on to where you get bullets. You can get bullets from pretty much anywhere in Deepwoken, but I have 2 spots I usually go to. The first spot is the cave right beside Azul Vigils. So there's a cave right beside it, but you're gonna have to take your boat and climb up and go in there and just mine. I have a slot for mining there. I literally parked the slot just for mining, and I just put the iron. You want to get the miners hot, so when you mine 1 iron, instead of giving you 1, it gives you like 4 iron instead of 1. It's really good. And the second spot is at the Widow's Cave. You can go to the Widow's Cave and just there's like a lot of rock, coal, and iron. You can just get iron from there. I just don't like going there because you could get ganked, you know. And the third spot you can get bullets from is also at Somo Azul or in Atria. Basically, if you go to the weapon building in Atria, there is a small rock on the table. It's called bullet, but it's 1 bullet for 5 notes, which I find really stupid when you can just go craft 1 iron for like 50 bullets. So don't buy bullets, craft them. Now let's move on to the build you're going to want to use with the gun. If you're in my Discord or you just watch my videos, you would know I have like 6 different builds. In this video though, I'm going to be talking about the top 3 strongest builds in this video and which one you should use for Chime or ganks. Now let's move on to Chime, because that's what most new players usually do. Most new players play 2v2 or they play 1v1s and try to get better in Chime. Now, which build is going to be good for Chime? And I would say the best build for Chime right now, if you're an average player trying to learn Silentheart Gun, would be build with reinforced armor. All builds are gonna be in my Discord, you know. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. You gotta use that sub, but you know, I'm trying to reach 3k subs, bro. When I reach 3k subs, I'm taking off the subscriber check because I already promised to everyone that I would not be hiding my builds behind a sub wall. And so 3k subs, I'm taking it off. Okay, so you're gonna want to use the reinforced armor version, and this is because you just have more HP and you're just really tanky, you know. Like you take like 30% less pan, and you also have like high strength on that build, so you probably want to use that reinforced armor build. That is the best version for Chime. For ganks, you would want to use the critical engine build. If you're using the critical engine build, you would have to get a mantle, because on gun to land the critical is literally the same with the bullet. So you're going to want to use a mantle, because a mantle is considered as a critical. So landing a mantle, which is always gonna land every time in ganks, you would just heal for 3 to 4% back. So that is really good. And yeah, the critical engine also has 50 fortitude, so it can be a little bit tanky. It can be a little bit squishy if you run initiations on it, but I would just advise you not to run initiations on the critical engine. You can run an initiations ring on the reinforced armor build, but just know that you are going to have to parry a lot and just avoid getting hit if you're going to run the Asian ring. Now let's move on to the strongest build. The strongest build is basically the central authority build, right? This build makes it so when you guard break someone, they are stunned for over 2 seconds. And this just literally guarantees 3 extra M1s, bro. It is really good and OP. I've been using this for Chime lately, but the only problem about the build is if you get guard broken, you are cooked. So basically, I fought this guy. He was Thunder and Gil at the same time, so he had 2 guard breaks. Basically, any build with a guard break is just hard counters that build. So you're going to have to roll a lot, and just don't even try to parry guard breaks. Just take them, bro. You have to just eat the guard break moves, or just roll through them. Don't try to parry guard breaks, or you are going to be stuck and take over 2 bars of damage. Now that we have covered what build, what weapon to use, let's move on to the playstyle. Now, Silentheart Gun is kind of like a weird build, you know? It's not like some people might say that is the best build in the game, but in reality, right, this is one of the hardest builds to use in this game. If you're fighting an aggressive player, a player that is just staying near you, using all the aggressive, basically a player just W keys you, right? And just doesn't give you a space to reload at all. Like, they're just constantly mixing up around you, bro. And it's really hard to get bullets in. And the thing about Silentheart Gun, if you do not reload, you're going to lose. You need bullets to win a match. Now, let's move on to how to use this build, like actually use this build. First of all, number 1, you're going to have to abuse the range you have. You have 12 range and basically infinite range with bullets. So what you're going to do, right, you're going to kind of keep space between you and your enemy to the point where if they parry, they have to move forward to M1 you, and you have enough time to shoot again, because right now there is just no parry stun in the game. So take advantage of that low parry stun you have in guns and distance yourself. Don't go too far. I'm not trying to say stand all the way back and range the entire match. That is not what. If you do that, you are going to lose and you're going to be trash talked. What you're going to do is keep stand really close to them, but to the point when they parry a bullet, you can still you still have enough time to M1 before they close the gap and M1 you. So that's the first advice I'm going to give, is use the range to your advantage. S key. Yes, S key. Second tip or tech I'm going to give is going to be reloading during the Silentheart moves. When you use Relentless Hunt, you can reload during Relentless Hunt. Basically, you can only reload during Relentless Hunt. That is the only move that really works a lot of the times. You can reload up to 2 bullets during Relentless Hunt. If you try to use it during Mayhem, it usually bugs out. You do it using Rising. You could do it after Rising though, because they're gonna predict parry after they get hit with the Rising. Third tip I'm gonna give is you're going to have to get a mantle if you can. Right now, like I said, Guns Repeater has the highest scaling in the game. And let's talk about mantle. Mantle damage scales with your weapon. So since mantle damage scales with the weapon, Repeater has 15 scaling. That makes Repeater and mantle have the highest damage in the game. If without Ishin's ring, no buffs, no nothing, mantle on Repeater is doing up to 80 damage. If you use Ishin's ring and put the damage buffs and everything, you can do up to 110 damage. That is why right now mantle on gun is just so good. But be careful when using the mantle, because right now there is no hyper armor and it can be swung through very easily. Next tip I'm going to give is you're going to basically, with the recent Silentheart changes, they added the ability to feint Silentheart moves. Now like the thing is that on Silentheart Light, you can't really feint the moves like that to the point where they're going to like roll and catch them. That's not gonna work. But there is one move though you should be using to roll catch them. That is Mayhem. Mayhem has like a 12-second cooldown. When you feint it, it has a 5-second cooldown. What I would usually do is feint Mayhem, then go behind them and hit them with an uppercut or a Rising Light. It is really good. It catches them off guard all the time, but do not do this more than 3 times a match, or they're literally going to adapt. Next tip I'm going to give is you are going to have to use a Congo's Clutch ring. As you saw in the beginning of the video, if you watch my movement right there, you saw how I was sliding around and all that. It was looking like I was sliding on ice. That is because Congo's Clutch just makes you slide further and basically gives you more mobility, which you really need on a Silentheart build. So use a Congo's Clutch, slide around, try to be saucy with your movement, and hit a few mantles and all that. Next tech I'm going to give is a tech which would make your gun speed. Remember what I said about the Repeater's gun swing speed being 1.2? Now, if you want to get the 1.25 swing speed, you can basically use a curling knife. So curling knife, if you use your critical, it gives you a speed boost for 10 seconds and increases your swing speed by 10%. That's for 10 seconds. You can only use this, and I would say use this like 2 times maximum a match, because if you try to keep switching to the curling knife and try to use that, most times they're gonna really chase you down and they're gonna M1 you, and you're just gonna panic and take unnecessary damage. So use this at the start of the game, or use it at the mid of the game or late game. Now what I'm going to move on to is I'm going to move on how you can vent predict. So basically, right, when you use a build for over 3 months, you would literally know every single tech about that build and know what makes people vent, like how this combo can make this person vent. So you would just know what moves make someone's vent. For me though, for Silentheart Gun, I noticed that most times after a rising, usually vent. Most times, not all the time though. So if you can hit them with the rising and hold F, you basically vent predict them. They also usually vent after 3 M1s. So what I would do, right, is I would have 2 bullets in my gun loaded, and I would use 2 of those bullets, hit them with 1 unloaded M1, and they would usually vent, and I would just hold F immediately. It is really easy to vent predict once you get used to it. Once you use this build for a very long time, you would know how to vent predict. That is the only advice I can give for Silentheart Gun vent predictions. Just use the build for a while, hold F after 3 M1s. They would usually panic and vent after that, and you just get a free vent predict. Let's move on to the gain maximum damage on Silentheart Gun. You are going to have to use the Central Authority build. It's, like I said, it is just the strongest. What you're going to do is you're going to get a curling knife. You're going to use the curling knife. You're going to switch back to your gun. You're going to use wind up 2 times. You're going to pop Ardor. You're going to pop Berserk. Use an Ishin's ring and use the mantle. If that guard breaks them, that does around 25%. Like I said, it's very hard to have all those buffs active at the same time, because like Wu in a gank or Wu in Chime is just gonna let you pop all those buffs in front of them. You're gonna get M1 or just rushed, so you're gonna have to find a way to do this. Like, me personally, I have never had all the buffs active so far. Like, I've only done it on a test, like with my friend. I've actually done him. I've never actually landed, and yeah, that's gonna be it for the tips, the Silentheart Gun techs and tips. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, I just made this video because a lot of people have been asking me to make another tutorial, so I realized, let me just make this tutorial. And yeah, that's gonna be for this video. Peace.